All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Cards and Coffee. With me today is Konstantine, also known as Interglobal underscore Collectible 77 on IG. Konstantine, man, we've been following each other for I would say the best part of 3 years by now, right?
No doubt.
We've had a conversation off camera before. People know
Sure.
about it because I've brought it up. We
That's
had our
right.
tinfoils on,
That's
tinfoil
right.
hats
We
on,
had
but
tinfoil hats on. That was a good conversation. No doubt.
yeah, yeah. All conversations with you are great, man. I mean, we were just going at it already. So I was like,
Yeah.
nah, man, let's
Yeah.
record this because
Time can slip
you're
away
making
from
some
us
good
for sure.
points.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate it. Totally
No, yeah,
appreciate it.
man. So can you just introduce yourself for people that don't know about you, how you
Sure.
got into collecting, how long you've been collecting, what do you collect?
Sure. So my name is Konstantine. I've been collecting since like 2020. Basically, I started with like the really kind of like the vintage stuff. That was kind of like what I was exposed to. 1990 Marvel Impel was like the first set that I kind of like really got into. Uh, at that time I knew nothing about like centering and like, just whether or not like the edges were good or whatnot. That was pretty much like the extent of my knowledge on it. But I ended up buying one that was kind of like fairly well centered and stuff. And so that was kind of like how I first got into it. And then it just kind of grew from there. I started really getting into just kind of the art. Like that was really where it was for me. And it wasn't even like the rarity of the cards, what I'm saying? Because a lot of those cards that I got in the beginning, they
Yeah.
were, they were just they're like $2 cards.
Hmm.
But like when you first get them, you're just like, oh man, look at this. It's awesome. So you're like proud of it. You're like, dude, I love this card. And then
Hmm.
as you follow the rabbit hole, you discover, what is kind of like rare, what's kind of like worth some cash. And, that was kind of like how it all started, was like a big kind of like maybe like a treasure hunt, what I'm saying? Like, let's see what else we can find. And then I really got like really into it, like a lot, what I'm saying? Like to the point where it was just like, there was thousands of dollars getting spent, and you're looking in the corner of of my basement. I'm just like, dude, what the fuck have I done over here? Like, and that's how it started. And now, now, ironically, I've actually had kind of taken a back seat, mainly because now if I go ahead and buy something, like it's either A, to complete like a set that I had started, or like I really want the card because I'm just in love with the card. And usually that doesn't happen because I got a lot of what I was kind of looking for. So yeah, that's kind of like how it started, how it worked out.
And to your point, man, once you started your journey and you were picking up some of these like lower end cards again, you're just happy, you're enamored, right? Still with the
Yeah,
hobby, you're like, oh, this is dope, this is awesome, and you're in like discovery phase. Do you
nice.
still remember like the one of the bigger, we'll say like at least over $300? Do you remember your over $300 first card that you were like, whoa, this shit is crazy? I
Yeah,
can't believe I bought this.
I totally do. I actually have it right next to me because I know that you're going to ask me the question: if there was a fire, what are
Mhm,
3 cards that you can bring?
mhm.
And so they're all vintage on it, but yeah, the very first one that I got was the Terabusi from the Wolverine Terabusi, the 1980.
Yeah.
I got it in a PSA 8, and I had spent $275 on it. And at that point in time, it was just kind of like the most that I had ever spent on a card. But I was kind of under the assumption, I was like, if you're going to go get something, and I found a really good deal on it too, because now they're a little bit more expensive than that. But I was like, buy the vintage, buy like my guy was Wolverine. Like that was like who my favorite character actually is and currently still is. But his prices are just out there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Mhm.
very hard to collect Wolverine and be like, uh, not even a semi like serious collector on, just like in the sense like, all right, dude, like let's try to get half of what Wolvie's got. No way,
Mhm.
it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
Yeah.
not gonna happen. And then you go with the numbered cards, right? So we're like, all right,
Mhm.
let's start talking numbered cards. Dude, come on. Like a 1 of 1 silver spectrum from
Yeah.
2000 and 18 or 20. Like it's just an expensive card. And it's, that same art. If it was different art for the 1 of 1, and that's always been my gripe with like, and I do like the rainbows, but like my gripe has been like, if you got that 1 of 1, I feel that it should be a completely different image than
Mhm.
all the other images on the card. I think that was
Yeah.
where Masterpieces kind of like dropped the ball on that. And as far as products go, I think Masterpieces are probably like, let's say the top product for Marvel. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and to your point too, one of my gripes with the red spectrums is they don't even have an auto. So to me, I'd rather have a silver spectrum because I have the
yeah,
creator's auto on there. The
exactly.
artist.
No doubt. No doubt. This is it. This was the very first card that I bought.
1 second, let me enlarge the screen so people could see this here. Nice. Yeah, that looks clean. The centering is pretty good, and which are tough to get on those.
Yeah, that was, when I found it in an 8, I tried to find it in a 10. And this is, I guess, what makes them different is the back over here.
Yeah.
It's just so cool to see a box of chocolates on the back of a Wolverine card.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope, man. All right, so you started. So did you ever, when you started picking up stuff? To your point, Wolverine's your guy. When you started, I mean, people, Wolverines were still going for, I would say, relatively cheap.
Yeah.
When did you abandon that plan, or was it ever a plan?
No, well, I never really abandoned it. I still buy him. I just, I'm not. My guy is Null. That's the guy who I totally collect. I try to rainbow him, but I still buy Wolvie, but I try to buy him on a budget. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm balling on a budget with Wolvie. If something cool comes along and it's not crazy priced, I'll buy it. I'll add it to my little Wolverine collection or whatnot. But it's not something that I'm seeking out. I am currently seeking out any Null 1-of-1s. You know what I'm saying? There's still the PMGs, the green one especially. Both of them, the high and the low. But I'm not really looking for a 1-of-1 of Wolvie. You know what I'm saying? Probably won't be unless it kind of falls in my lap by opening it up. And then even then I might probably trade that for something. You know what I'm saying? Even then I might actually end up selling that one because a 1-of-1 Wolvies are still going for some good cash. It's like if you come across a 1-of-1 Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying?
That funds the hobby for you for a good amount.
It really does. It does fund the hobby. Exactly. And that's really where we're at this point in time, right? It's trying to use the hobby to fund the hobby. Unfortunately, I have not got to that level. I just keep on buying, and I haven't really sold anything. I'm more of a long-term guy. I like to keep it in my collection, and then we'll get back to it 5-10 years from now, see how it's going, see where the market's at, and then start pulling out pieces that we think that we can kind of let go. But rest assured that for that time, I'm going to definitely have it mounted and be able to look at it, enjoy it, and kind of get some pleasure from it,
Yeah.
And after that, kind of the way Manu does it, Manu totally he buys it, he looks at it, he hangs out with it for a little bit, then he sells it. I love that. I love that aspect of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just like to hang on a little bit longer than Manu.
Me too. It's just his turnaround time.
His turnaround time is right away.
Yeah, he's like FedEx. You know what I mean?
He is like FedEx.
I'm trying to slow down a little bit. Yeah.
No doubt.
Shout out to Manu for sure.
Shout out to Manu. Also, speaking of shout outs, this is hilarious. So this was back in the day, when you guys, maybe your 4th or 5th episode, something like that. It was you, Doom, and Surge, and I'm not sure who you were talking to, but he was either in Hawaii or in Mexico.
Johnny, with the rooster in the back?
Yeah, the rooster, man.
Shout out to Johnny.
Shout out to the rooster.
Oh, you froze. Let me see if I can get him back here.
Oh, did I? Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Sorry, I didn't cut out. But yeah, shout out to that rooster, man. That was funny. I hope he's doing well, that rooster.
Oh yeah, he's cool, man. Johnny, shout out to Johnny again. But yeah, I remember that. That was a great episode because he's a serious guy, super smart guy, and he collects everything, right? He has collections that people don't even know about, from different genres, even Transformers, Godzilla, different Japanese toys. But I remember that episode, the rooster kept making, and I love fucking roosters. From Mexico, it's like I don't know how to explain to you, but it's nostalgic just to listen to them because that's when usually waking up, they wake you up. It's kind of an alarm clock. But when I heard him saying I couldn't tune it out. So I was like, let me just acknowledge. I was like, yo, shout out to your rooster, bro, because
no doubt
he wants to be on the episode.
Yeah, that rooster was great. We had I'm currently in New Jersey, but I lived in Chicago for 45 years, 48 years, something like that. Long time. I was born and raised there. But for before I came over here, we were living in the city, and they had just recently it passed a law where you can have chickens and stuff like that, in your backyard. So the guy a couple streets down had a rooster, and this guy, at first I hated it, but I had to be up early. So this rooster really came in handy. So shout out to that rooster too.
Yeah, roosters are dope, man. Hey, before we move on from the Wolverine thing, just out of curiosity, I know you don't, to your point, you're more of casually collecting Wolverine. But what are 3 Wolverine cards that stand out to you? And they don't have to be crazy rare, but just artwork wise, what are your favorite 3 Wolvies since you've been in the hobby? You don't have to own them, by the way. It could be cards that you don't own either.
I probably do own them because
Nice.
let's see here. Okay, so we're going to start off with this guy, one of my favorites. 2018 Bianchi Tier 4 Gold Sig.
Nice. Yeah.
This glare here is killing me.
Tilt it up.
Tilt it up.
No, it does not. There you go. Perfect.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love this card. I absolutely do. This card's one of my favorites. And then also on that same vein, the 2020, the 2020. Here we go. The 2020
Colombo?
achievement card.
Nice.
This is the EPAC achievement. The reason I really like these cards is first of all, the suit on Wolvie, killer. You know what I'm saying? And with the rainbow foiling, I think it looks really good. Yeah. And then anything that Bianchi does, it looks like a Rembrandt.
Yeah.
You know, so those are probably like, those are two. And then I would say, you know, my other one, which was my favorite one, is the Wolverine, the rookie Wolverine. I mean, the first appearance card, or, you know, whatever we're going to call it these days, but the Terabusi. The reason I like that is I like that because of the simplicity. Like, this thing is just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it reminds me of, like, this is the Wolverine that I remember when I was a kid.
That's fair. And the colors are vibrant too on that.
Yeah, the colors are super nice on this. Nice. And then yeah, that's those are my three favorite Wolverine cards. You know, Venom is also one of my guys. I'm a Symbiote guy, so, you know, Venom is kind of like they're my proxy. So is Carnage. As far as Venom goes, I got this one I bought from Anu, and I was very happy to get it. This is the sticker card.
That's the Todd McFarlane.
This is a Todd McFarlane. This is a sticker card. So like this one was before this one, which is the Comic Images card.
Correct.
This one is signed by Todd.
Nice.
So I did this when the Todd signing was happening, I think last year, a couple of years ago. But Venom also, I mean, like, in terms of characters, right? Like, I love how Venom was. I don't know if I'm really loving what they've turned Venom into, this whole anti-hero kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do love, I love the original, like, McFarlane, like, stories on Venom, like the introduction and like all like that, just the evilness that he had in him. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like, that's my Venom, you know? So that's cool. He's just a cool character. As far as like, it's going to probably always be a cool character. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as characters go, like Batman's been around for 80 years, super cool character. You know, it's probably going to be around for another 80 years. So like, cool characters like that are always going to be, you know, they're always going to stay around, especially with their cool backstories and stuff like that. If they do them justice, if they do null justice, hopefully on this upcoming movie, I think that's gonna be really cool. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and besides cards, do you collect anything else yourself? Have you dabbled into figures, comics, anything else?
Yeah, I collect comics. I got a lot of them, but I'm not like a comic book collector per se, in the sense that, you know, like some people really love the gold and the silver, the bronze. I totally like, you know, they certain issues and stuff like that. I'm more of a comic cover collector.
Yeah.
Like, I totally like collect like the old school stuff, but I really gotta love the cover on it. I gotta love the character, because that's really what, you know, I'm usually buying these to preserve them. You know, some of them could be slabbed, some of them could not be slabbed. I'm not really like, you know, I have slab books too, but like I said, I totally love things in between two pieces of plastic. I just think it's great, but then you can't look at it anymore. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the two things that I collect. Nothing really else other than that. And that's really recent. Like I said, comic books really in the last like kind of couple of years, whereas opposed to like the cards have really been like in the last like 4 years. And, you know, I got into the comics because of the cards. It was the comics are the source material. So I was just like, all right, let's see what this is all about. But I'm pretty picky on that too. Just like all the comics that I have, I love them all because of the covers. You know what I'm saying? If I had enough space, I would put them all up so I could just look at them like all the time.
What kind of covers do you have? Like, if you don't have to show them, but if just name off some of your favorites.
I mean, obviously Todd McFarlane, Simone Bianchi, Peach Momoko, J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah.
Um, who else do I like? I like John Jiang, kind of like a Chinese
Mhm.
artist. He's done a lot of like Spidey. Who else? E.M. Geist, as of
Mhm.
recently, I think he's got some really awesome like
Yeah.
comic covers. Um, I mean, geez, Jack Kirby, obviously, like the old
Mhm.
school guys, if we're going to go that far back, like no one's going to beat Kirby. Nobody's going to beat Stan Lee. Um, Jim Lee, obviously. Oh my God, how can you forget about Jim Lee? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Excellent.
absolutely. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, for sure. So, like, a lot of like the guys that like, for me were just in my childhood, you know what I'm saying? With the exception of maybe
Mhm.
like Pete Tremolko and Simone Bianchi, that are kind of like
Modern.
more modern. But like, yeah, the old school guys are really where I'm at in terms of like comic covers. But like like for example, like Ahsoka, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like the
Mhm.
show. I thought it was cool, but some of those comic covers on Ahsoka, like they're just awesome, especially like her very first appearance with, they're kind of looking through that window with oh my God, I can't believe I forgot the fucking Darth Vader's real name, Anakin.
Oh, yeah.
Anakin, like, kind of next to her, like that's a killer cover, you know what I'm saying? And that book, I don't know, pretty sure it's a few $1,000s in a, in like a 9.4, 9.6. So
Nice.
pretty cool book, you know what I'm saying? Not so much because of the price, but just because that cover is just, beautiful. That's, to me, like that's the way that did you see the series?
No, I haven't seen it. No, I
Not the
saw. I saw something with my kids, and it was Ahsoka, but it wasn't like it wasn't the animated one. It was the actual.
the actual show, the live
Yeah, the
action show.
actress was it Rosario Dawson? I
Yeah,
believe
it
it
was
was.
already awesome. That was good. I liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it was good. My kids liked it too.
yeah.
But
No,
I just use that just because I had her cover over there. I mean, other covers that that I'm totally like anything really Peach Momoko in terms of like her Venom covers are great. Her Spider-Man covers are great. Um, and Bianchi's.
I think we lost him again. Yo, Constantine.
There we go. Are we good?
We're,
Okay, right
yeah,
on.
we're good now.
Cool.
Yeah, you were saying Bianchi's covers.
So yeah, like Bianchi, like anything Bianchi, like his covers are just great. Anything Bianchi, I love.
I was going to ask you as well, like when you first started in the hobby, what have you experienced as far as like big changes that you would say are completely different from when you entered the hobby, 4 or 5 years ago versus now,
Um,
whether
well,
positive or negative?
I guess one of the first things was the prices have definitely come down,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot considering from like 2021 and 2022. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
like those prices that were realized back then. I don't know if we're ever going to see those prices again. I bought a lot during those years. Uh, I'm hoping, but just the prices have definitely like come down in terms of individual cards. However, the prices of boxes have definitely like gone up, like that's one of the first things, like immediately, like it was just like at one point in time you were able to kind of just like rip and be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it was like, oh my God, how much does this cost? Are you kidding
Mm-hmm.
me? No way. Um, and then also like I would guess the amount of people that are in it now as opposed to like let's say 4 years ago, like there's definitely has been organic growth year after year. And that's really good. Those are a few of the things that I've just off the top of my head that I've seen like immediately. Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Speaking of the sealed product, how do you feel with this whole stuff with the X-rays coming up, this new technology?
the CAT scans, huh?
Yeah.
So we're talking off backstage. Yeah, $10,000 could buy yourself a cat. You could buy yourself a CAT scan and just kind of like keep it in the living room and just scan your cards through there. If you want to just know what the heck's in there. Uh, I mean, I personally, it's cheating, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's face it, it's totally cheating. So, like, there's also an element of kind of deception behind it. Like, if you're a
Mm-hmm.
breaker and you're buying a case and you already know like what's in the cases and stuff like that. So there's that. Yeah, as technology progresses, though, there's always going to be ways where it's going to try to fuck the system, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language, but
Oh, yeah.
those guys are just kind of, they're not playing fair. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy when a hobby that's supposed to be fun, like, you come back from work, you're finished
Mhm.
hanging out with your kids and stuff like that. You want to just kind of like do something by yourself for an hour or two, you know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden you're just like, wow, I got to worry about like people doing CAT scans on like, boxes that I'm, potentially going to buy. That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
funny.
it used to be just weighing packs, back in the
Right.
Pokemon days,
Yeah.
whether you
I mean,
got
the
the
weight
hollow.
packs was, well, it was okay. Like, if you had like the little digital like scale next to you and you kind of like weighed your packs just to see if that pack or if that box was a difference between another box, maybe you had a plate in it or something like that, all in good fun, just kind of like whatever. Usually kind of like, all right, I got 2 boxes. I'm going to give one to my brother, and I'm going to give one to my sister and my other brother. And, which one is the better one? Stupid shit like that. But like now
Mhm.
where you're able to kind of just look and see what the hell's inside of it. I mean, that's magic. Isn't that black magic?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? That's black
yeah,
magic right there.
yeah. I do. I mean, I don't see how it wouldn't impact it negatively, like the hobby as a whole. I would say specifically, I was telling you, I think that the people that are going to get hit the most with that is higher end product, right? Because the whole concept of people buying into breaks is because they're gamblers.
Yeah.
It's that the fact that they're flipping a coin and are they going to hit the one of one? Are they going to hit the out of 10 or whatever? And now, if the breaker knows for a fact that there's like a dud case
Mhm.
or a dud box, then why would you buy into that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's where the deception comes in too.
Mhm.
Uh, how about you? What have you seen in terms of the last few years in terms of like the differences? What do you think they are?
I think for me, I think we got a lot more people coming into the IG scene. I
Okay.
think I remember when we first started, there wasn't a lot of people really posting heavy on IG.
Mhm.
And granted, I was going pretty crazy. I was posting, sometimes up to 3 posts a day. I remember doing, and
Mhm.
now I've slowed down to where I'll post maybe like 2 or 3, 4 times a week.
Okay.
I've noticed that a lot of people, to your point, there was a lot of organic growth in the Facebook groups, and then a lot of those I feel like have been trickling in slowly, like building IG profiles and starting to show some of their
Yeah.
collections. I feel like a lot of people were a little bit more secretive into what they held in their
Sure.
collections,
Yeah.
and now I feel like, to your point, since the dust has settled and those prices have dramatically decreased, now they're okay with like showing you what they acquired during that term. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah.
That's what I see. As far as there's obviously been a lot of changes. I'm very surprised. The most thing that has surprised me is how much modern has taken over, modern product.
Yeah.
But I think we were talking about this backstage as well. Like, I think that Fanatics whole thing is really going to help out the hobby, because I was telling you, like, you were bringing up Marvel masterpieces, PMGs, and all these iconic, inserts and parallels that are no longer going to be part of the hobby. Well, that also means that they're no longer going to be printed,
Yeah.
right? So it means now for a fact, what's out there. It's going to be easy to calculate, and the more and more time goes by, like, there's a lot of boxes that are still sealed. I I mean, I'm glad I sold my bigger boxes when I did, because of this whole CAT scanning thing.
Mhm.
Because imagine, like, a lot of times people are like, I remember when I owned a 2015 Fleer box for a few years,
Mhm.
and I was very tempted for a couple times by Doom and Sergio to open it, right? And be
Uh-huh.
like, dude, what if it has a green Wolverine in here, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
imagine if my ass scans it and I see a fucking Doctor Strange, or not Doctor Strange is dope, but I don't know, whatever C-rated character,
Uh-huh.
Jambalaya, and that's it. I
Right.
would have been super upset about it.
Sure.
So I'm glad I
Considering
never opened that.
you sold it for what? 69 hundo, right?
Yeah, I sold it for 6,200 or some close to
6,200.
that.
Great
Yeah,
price. It was a great
yeah.
sale.
I got lucky that I was able to pick it up for like 350
Yeah.
early on.
Great sale. Great
Yeah,
sale.
so those are again, those I'm okay with moving. And I was lucky in that sense. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Like, for me, a lot of what funded the hobby wasn't even crazy, like, high priced card. It was low cards that just 10x out of nowhere.
Sure.
Cards that I was picking up for like 30, 40 bucks that were going for like three, four, $500.
Yeah.
And it was fun while it lasted.
It was absolutely, yeah, it was a great time. I hope that we get back to those times, I really do. Like, hopefully we can here in the next 10 years. A few things have to kind of like line up for us, but I think it's very possible. I know that you're definitely into the DC, like Do you think it's just going to all shift over to DC? You know what I'm saying? Like, you think DC is going to pull half the population kind of
I,
back?
I I don't, because can I be honest? And here's why. That's a great question. I think that there's going to be definitely a lot of people that are going to become Batman collectors overnight.
Yeah.
I read that
Yeah.
these guys weren't even collecting Batman at all. You never saw them collect anything related to Batman. All of a sudden, they're all about Batman, right?
Right. Sure.
But here's why. Think about it like this. We were talking about this earlier, comparing sports cards and new players, and you brought up the fact that Nate made that great point with rookies coming in every year, right?
Right.
So you have a
Yeah.
great selection of people to collect. Well, with DC, can you name me 10 characters you would want to collect?
I mean, other than
Besides Batman and Joker? Go
oh
ahead.
yeah, Batman, Joker. You got Superman,
Okay.
maybe Nightwing. Nightwing's pretty cool.
That's okay.
Catwoman. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about. I mean, my wife loves Catwoman, so it's just off the top of my head. But like for me personally, other than Batman, Joker, Superman, and the Flash, which are my top four characters, and then maybe Penguin. You know what I'm saying? Just to round out the top five. You know what I'm saying? Those guys, I think it'd be cool. I think anybody would think it'd be awesome to have a green PMG of the Joker, or
100%.
a blue PMG, or a red PMG of Superman, a blue PMG of Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be very cool. But once that happens, then what?
That's my point. Yeah.
Right. And I think the one thing that Upper Deck actually does have going for it is they do have, and we could say whatever we want about Upper Deck. They've had some awesome like home runs, and then they've had some swing and a misses and stuff like that. But their inserts are cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like, either way you cut it, their inserts are super cool. And one of my favorite inserts from Upper Deck, it's really basically like my favorite type of card to collect, are comic cuts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love them. I think comic cuts are the bee's knees, as they say. You know what I mean? Like, they're awesome. So the fact that, we're going to get some really killer Batman, maybe, like some killer DC comics, in the comic, because like, that's going to be awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm excited about that for sure. But again, I'm just pointing out, when it comes to like, you definitely have in that range, I would say even 10 characters. I'm sure we could think about more: Scarecrow, the Ventriloquist, you got,
Sure.
right. But my point being is that you got 10. When you compare DC's top 10 to Marvel's top 10, it's not close. As far as like popularity, for once you get to like under 5 characters, it's not even close when you compare them to each other. So I just feel like it's gonna have to be very Batman heavy, and it's going to be very similar, to where Upper Deck, every release, even if it wasn't, for example, if it was Flurry Ultra Wolverine, you still had Spider-Man in there for whatever reason, right?
Sure.
So I think it's going to be that. Like, it's going to be a lot of Batman. And not that I'm mad about it. It's going to be dope. But again, I don't feel like there's going to be a great variety of heroes. And I'm sure there's a lot that I don't, Green Lantern might be another one, right? But yeah, I'm not sure, man. Again, I'm excited for the Batman portion of it. I just don't know how it's going, because look, I've seen, we have some kind of clue into how it's going to perform with the CCX brand. They had a lot of Batman sets.
Cryptozoic?
Yeah, the Cryptozoid. And if you remember, a lot of those sets, like when you look at comps, even in Terra Peak now, the only things that are worth any kind of money are the Jokers and Batmans.
Yeah.
Everything else, there's like, they're giving them away. I'm talking about cards out of 10, out of 20. It's like Marvel 2019 prices when it comes to those. Like, no one's really picking those up.
You're right. Which is going to make it very easy for, I was going to say, which is going to make it very easy for the collector to get the card that he wants. However, how about if it just works out where like so many people just get into it because Upper Deck has got the EPAC platform, which, is fantastic, especially somebody like me who's got like so much stuff at his house, and you can keep all your stuff at EPAC. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just fantastic. Or anybody that's really living like in, let's say, New York City or the city of Chicago, like in a city, and you don't have the space for it. Like, you can start a hell of a collection and keep all your stuff online. I think that's great. I think it's also going to help DC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like having free storage.
Right. I think the one thing that DC really needs is just really good movies. You know what I'm saying? Marvel killed it in the beginning with, Iron Man and Endgame and Infinity Wars and just so many other great
Guardians
flicks.
of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy was awesome. Came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Even that third one was
Yeah.
fantastic. It was one of my favorite movies as far as that genre goes. But they got out there. I mean, they're where a lot of people like know them. Like people in China know Marvel superheroes. I'm sure people in China know Batman and Superman, but not as much. It seems like what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Where like
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's just not out there enough. I think the movies really had a big deal to help Marvel get to that level. And I think that if they start making some really good movies for the DC universe, I love the Penguin show. I'm saying 2 episodes into it,
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. Definitely a different take on the Penguin. I'm saying like he reminds me of Tony Soprano.
Yeah, I
Like
saw that recently someone put a reel up that they were like showing very separate screenshots or little clips where they straight copied The Sopranos.
yeah,
Like
well,
there was a couple scenes. I mean, again, there's so much stuff out there. You're definitely not going to have original
right.
thoughts anymore. But yeah,
But he sounds like Tony. What I'm saying? Like
yeah,
Colin Farrell is playing him. He's got that shh sound. Tony's always like the shh, like
yeah,
that's the way he talked. So like I like the story. I like the way it's going. I think things like that are going to definitely help DC. And then that next like blockbuster movie, you know what I'm saying? Like if you get
mm,
like remember that 1989 Batman? Who's ever going to
yeah.
forget 1989 Batman? Like that was
Dude,
like
I was excited when I saw him in The Flash.
sure, that was awesome. That was probably
Yeah,
the best part of the Flash, wasn't it? What I'm
which
saying? Like that,
sadly, yes, sir. That is
you
the
know,
truth. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and I thought the Flash
And,
was
and pause there, not to cut you off, but think about what it took for a Flash movie to be good. You had a Supergirl in there, pretty much
right.
Superman
Uh-huh.
and Batman in order
Right.
for that to be a successful film.
Yeah, and even towards the end over there, it was kind of like, all right, guys, what I'm saying? Like, don't kill off Keaton here. What
Yeah,
I mean? Like, make it go
yeah,
towards the end. Maybe you guys get something later. But also, I don't think the actor that played Flash was, I
yeah,
thought he was a good Flash, but I think his personal life kind of like maybe kept people away. I don't
mhm,
know. I don't know if that was really necessarily a thing,
yeah,
but
yeah.
nonetheless, what I wanted to ask you is, did you hear about that theft that happened at Upper Deck?
No, what happened?
So I was watching Neil either it was yesterday or a couple of days ago,
Mhm.
but I guess an employee from Upper Deck stole a $500,000 worth of redemption cards.
For Marvel or for sports?
Nobody really knows, nobody
Mm.
really knows, like, they didn't really release that information. I mean, probably hockey, what I'm saying, just
Oh,
because
he could have them. I'm glad they're in this collection.
exactly, but there's been some pretty good redemptions
Yeah.
for the Marvel, so, that was just something that I heard that I thought was, like, crazy, like, "Wow, dude, $500,000, like."
And how did they land? Oh, yeah. I mean that's dope. I mean, it's not dope that it happened, but how did they land on that figure? How did they know it's exactly $500,000 worth of cards?
So they're saying that so far they've got a couple $100,000 that they can
Mhm,
100% prove, and that they're estimating that it could
mhm,
get as high as 500,000. So I guess it was like a new employee. He'd been there for a couple of months, and they wouldn't have even found him. According to Neil's story, they wouldn't have even found him because he was actually ratted out, and then it took another month after he was ratted out to kind of like build a case on him or whatnot. But in that time, he sold certainly $200,000, potentially $500,000 worth of stuff. But
yeah.
dude, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a hobby.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, but look, we were talking about this backstage. It's slowly becoming not, though. If we're honest, it's
yeah,
slowly becoming mostly about money, and with all these, these cat. I mean, look, when people are thinking of ways and how to see inside of boxes, that lets you know it's no
yeah,
longer just a
yeah.
hobby.
It's no longer just a hobby at that point in time.
Yeah,
I can't wait till we get to the counterfeiting. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I mean, knock on wood. Hopefully, no time soon,
no,
right?
well,
But
I mean, if it's getting to that point, like the
yeah,
counterfeiting is just a hop, skip, and a jump away. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't even happen like that. Maybe, because Topps has, for the most part, got pretty good security protocols. So does Upper Deck. They got pretty good
yeah,
security protocols in terms of like their actual card to know
yeah.
that it's an Upper Deck card. Obviously, somewhere along the line of the supply chain over here, they totally messed up with the $500,000 getting stolen from them.
I
But
mean, that's one of the bigger issues, even with the story you're mentioning that we've always thought it was funny in the hobby is how does there even the replacement program work? And how do they pick and choose what cards they hold behind, right? Like, I, that's one of the things. Like, I remember when I was chasing that Lucky Eight Venom for the longest time, I
Mhm.
was always like, man, there's only 8 of those. If these motherfuckers have one, they better not have one of those cards just in
Sure.
their drawer. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
Like,
Sitting around like an
because
infinity stone.
yeah, because that's 2019 Marvel Flair. That's the card from the whole entire set. Like,
Absolutely.
if someone told you, hey, 4 of those are not even in rotation, why would you even try to buy into that? I mean, it's already nearly impossible to hit one of those lucky eights in general, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that was a awesome set, right? Saying
Yeah,
like that insert was such an
yeah.
awesome insert. Uh, that's probably not gonna get another one, right? Of, something as cool as a Lucky 8. I don't think Topps will, do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for what Topps is gonna do, but they're gonna do something different. Again, I was telling like we already mentioned, I'm just happy that they were already making too many PMGs, too many jambalayas. It's cool that now we know what's out there. I don't know how many more sets Upper Deck's going to release prior to them, not able to release any more
Yeah, what do you think?
Marvel.
What
Yeah, I'm
okay,
not sure.
you think
But
this is it though, right? Do you think better question. Do you think that Unbound will be able to finish? Or is that it come, let's say, December 31st? Like, that's it, that goes. So, like, we're not gonna get the second, like the second half of the set. Do you think that's the
yeah,
case?
I'm not sure. I don't know when their drop dead date is, and that's what I think we need to know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a date, or maybe I don't know if they're going to do it by date or if they're doing it by like, hey, after this set you're done. So I don't know if set wise or it's a date. I'm not sure. It'd be good to know that information for
I would
sure.
love to find that out. I really would. I mean, there's obviously we didn't get masterpieces yet.
Mhm.
Masterpieces. I mean, if it does come out, probably going to be 750 a
Mhm.
box. Like that's what I would put it at. Like, considering that it realized prices of $1,100, $1,200 per box, like at its peak. So you figure like 750 is probably the realistic price that they would do it at. Maybe that's their last swan song. Like, here you go, guys. Like
What are boxes selling for now? Do you know?
I think they're still close, like 900 bucks.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Like,
so
that's
I
about
could see why they would do 750 or 799 or something like that.
Yeah, 799 is probably that sounds like more like an Upper Deck thing to do.
Yeah.
799 as opposed to 740.
Yeah, they want you to know that you're getting a deal. You're
Right,
not. It's not
exactly.
800.
Catching that deal, guys. I mean, listen, it's been kind of cool of them to put a lot of the kind of their lower tier sets on sale, like the What If at
Mhm.
50% off on EPAC. Like, that's cool. I haven't hit anything nice, but still nice to know that you could buy a 3-packer for 13 bucks.
Yeah. Out of all those, speaking of EPAC, out of all those sets that were released on EPAC, which one did you go heaviest on your end?
Platinum.
Oh,
Platinum.
nice.
I
Okay.
went super heavy on platinum. I bought like 4 boxes physical. I bought like 4 boxes physical and like 7 blaster boxes.
Mhm.
Got nothing really good out of the blaster boxes. Um, and didn't really hit anything like amazing from the hobby boxes or whatnot. My best card from there was an out of 10 Howard the Duck. Uh,
Oh, okay.
that was the best card that I got. But I did go heavy on it, and we made some rainbows. Definitely almost done with like the null rainbow. The only card that I'm missing is the one of one, the out of 5, and the out of 10. But I've resided to that where like I'll probably not really if the out of 10 finds me, awesome. Probably not going to see the out of 5. Probably not going to see the one of one. So like I'm pretty happy with the rainbow I got there. But and then the color wheel, like the EPAC
Yeah.
achievement color wheel set, I thought that was fantastic. And since we're talking
Mhm.
about this, so like one thing that I think is amazing is it was it was so expensive to get the blacks, the VIP blacks out
Yeah.
of that set. And
Mhm.
now you can find these things on like eBay for like 25 to 50 bucks. I ended up buying my Silver Surfer for like 47 bucks. And initially it was going for like $500-600. And like at 500-600 bucks, I can understand that because it costs a little bit of money to actually make that card.
Right.
And then it seemed like when the hype died down, like a month or two later, these things just like, they hit the bargain bin, which to me is like crazy. Like you spent all this money to make this and now it's, like in the bargain bin. That I never understood. That I'm not going to understand either because it's just economically doesn't make sense. You know what I'm
No.
saying?
And again, it just speaks volumes on how much is just on to the next in the hobby
Mhm.
right now. On to the next, on to the
On
next.
to the next, right.
Right now, you're seeing the attention the majority of the attention go to the Topps Chrome, the UK release. I've seen some of those. I was telling you, some sales over $10,000 for some out of fives, some out of 10. It's crazy amount of money because
Crazy.
we again that's why to your point about we see the prices again before. I didn't think so. Once people wake up and know that it's not about modern, like
Right.
I don't know how long that's going to take and if it will happen. Another thing, I mean, I brought this up on the VIP blacks. One of my favorite achievements personally was from 2017 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. The
Awesome. Yeah.
rainbows,
Yeah.
those in hand are fucking incredible, man.
Yeah,
The
they are.
rainbow foils, and then you have the web rainbows, which are even harder to get. But the VIP blacks, like one of the ones that stood out to me, I recently saw a sale of the Wolverine, which is
Mhm.
the Stuart Amonin artwork,
Okay.
which you get in the 2013 PMG, that Wolverine,
Okay.
which you also get in 2015 Flair Retro, the X-Men Impel insert, which looks like the old school Jim Lee art
Mhm.
or the set. You get that. You have maybe I don't know. You could debate on how many autos are out there. Some people say 40, some people say 50. I don't know.
Okay.
But on the VIP Black, it went for $800. It was a comp from CompC,
Mhm.
$800, and it wasn't even the artist's art, the artist's signature.
Wow.
It was the VIP Black was a writer, and
Uh-huh.
someone still paid $800 for
Yeah.
that. Meanwhile, you have I own that card in the PSA 10. I believe it's still Pop 2, the
Mhm.
actual Stuart Demonin artwork.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, there's a PSA 9 with his on card, not sticker, on card auto of the artist sitting at $400 on eBay right now.
Oh,
Not my
wow.
card,
Uh-huh.
but half the price for
Yeah.
the actual artist from a
Right.
bigger set, 2015 Fleer Retro.
Yeah.
So again, that's why the math ain't mathin'
Yeah, the
when it
math
comes to
ain't
stuff,
mathin'. Exactly.
right?
That's why I'm really hoping that it'll eventually, like, even out and kind of, like, get to, like, correct itself. I hope that it eventually corrects itself. We're on that process because, like, right now it's a buyer's market, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
there's
Yes.
you know, I th I did, like, a little mini rainbow. I wanted to get a little piece of the Avengers medal,
Mhm.
just nothing crazy. I didn't wanna buy any boxes or whatnot, but I wanted to get some comic cuts, so I ended up getting some comic cuts, and then I wanted to do, like, a little mini rainbow of, like, what I thought would be, like, some nice art, and I liked the art for the Ant-Man where he's, like, on the ant. I was like,
Mhm.
"You know what? This is cool." I ended up buying the blue PMG out of 50 for 30 bucks. I was like, "Wow, are you kidding me? Okay, cool." And then I ended up buying the out of 25. Now it's not a PMG, but it's out of the 25. I bought that for 45 bucks. Thought, all right, that's whatever. It's still cheap considering that like
Mhm.
when Spidey Metal came out, anything out of 25 was in the couple $100 range for the lower characters. And then obviously the top three, top five characters were, in the thousands of dollars
Astronomical.
or whatnot. Yeah.
Mhm.
Extra. But so I wanted to get a little piece of that. And that was pretty much like all like that I pretty much like bought for that set. And so it's I don't know. It's not it wasn't it wasn't anything that was like, "Oh my god, yeah, I gotta have this." You know what I'm saying? But it was
Mhm.
nice to just get a little piece of it because PMGs are PMGs and,
Mhm.
they're still fun and,
Yeah,
no matter the character, it's still fun to have a PMG.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you, man.
Do you
I
own a PMG? Have you had a PMG?
I've never opened a product with a PMG in it. Like I never cracked product with it. The only product I opened was, and I regret, I opened the 2017 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man box. My hit was a Spider-Woman Jambalaya.
Oh,
I
wow.
remember that. Shout out to Doom. We did a
Uh-huh,
trade for that card.
uh-huh.
I opened two boxes of 75th anniversary Rittenhouse with the sketches
Nice.
inside and the
Awesome
70.
box.
I pulled a gold border man thing out of
Okay.
75. That was
That's
my biggest hit
fantastic.
from.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Hey, listen, I own that card. Not I used to be a Man-Thing collector, like
Mhm.
pseudo Man-Thing collector, like on the low key. I was like, he's cool. I like the art. But that card, that 75th card, that's a beautiful card.
It
Either
is.
way you cut it. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
Especially slabbed.
Yeah.
Uh, I see it slabbed in, like the gold, kind of like CGC slab. Like I think that's just a perfect slab for that card, you know.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
what else?
I go with the BGS 95. You know what I mean? But I
Sure.
get you.
Well, do you
You
like
know,
who's your grading service? Do you like Beckett more so than PSA or CGC?
I like them for sure. I like PSA and Beckett more than CGC. I own two CGC cards, and
Okay.
I own, let's say, I own roughly 100 slabs. I'd say 30 of those slabs are BGS and
Okay.
70 are PSA.
PSA. Okay.
Yeah. So, but as far as like the two PMGs that I still own from when I first got into it, I only sold one of my PMGs, and it was a Magneto, the white suit from 2015 Fleer. I
Nice.
sold that last year,
Uh-huh.
but I kept my Silver Surfer from 13 Retro,
Awesome.
my Hulk from 13 Retro,
Awesome.
and I have a PSA 9 of the Gambit from X-Men Metal.
Oh, right on.
So
That's
that's my favorite PMG, like just because it's Jim Lee artwork. Now it's not as vibrant, right, as the
uh,
2013 PMGs,
sure.
but the artwork, and it's a PSA 9, and we're talking about that, how just because of how these cards are cut, that's a pretty nice grade for a PMG.
I mean, ironically, I ended up I bought one box of X-Men Metal, and I ended up hitting a green Gambit PMG, but it was the low series Gambit, the
With
one
the
with
suit
tux,
007.
the 007 one. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was the only first and only green that I've hit so far. But it was super exciting to hit it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it was fun. And when you do pull a green PMG or any PMG, and I think that's what really made this Avengers box like just very cool was
yeah,
that people were pulling PMGs just out of every nook and cranny of that box. And that's fun. And I
yeah,
if indeed this is the last box for Marvel, or excuse me, for Upper Deck, what a way to go out. You know what I'm saying? Like
mhm,
kind of like give the consumer like what they want, like throw a bunch of hits in there, and maybe it'll never make it to EPAC, so we can just throw all the hits into these boxes and just kind of like, make it like one last hurrah. I'm going to give props to Upper Deck if that is indeed the case on that. But nonetheless, everybody like just hitting all those greens and the reds and the blues and stuff. It was very cool to see, you know?
yeah. I was one thing, even like to your point, from afar, just seeing people enjoy the aspect of opening and breaking that product was the fact that they brought those 13 retro PMGs back.
Yeah, that's
That
awesome.
was a super nice touch, you know?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Absolutely, that was a real nice touch, and, I mean, out of that set, what do we got? We got the Spidey, we got the Venom, we got the Iron Man, we got the Captain America. That's 4. Who do you think the 5th guy would be, or the top 5?
I haven't seen too many of that set, but one of the ones that stood out when I was, oh, Miles. I would say Miles.
Miles, yeah, good point. Miles probably be top 5. So those are the characters. Everybody else is pretty much like, whatever,
Yeah.
Uh, I don't wanna knock anybody's character, but, like, let's face it, like, an iBoy or, something like that is just, it's a travesty when you get that PMG, Like,
Yeah.
no. Ironically, I do own an iBoy plate from the what? The Marvel is it Marvel Beginnings or is it Marvel Annual? I bought it because just such an ugly card. It was just like awful. It's such an ugly, ugly card. And I saw the plate sitting there for like $10. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get this as a testament to just how ugly this card is. It is a 101 after all, but I actually put it up for a little bit. I just looked at it. I was like, you know what, man? It's not that bad of a card. But yeah, it's the
Yeah, you remind me of
yeah,
Brian. Shout out to Brian from Marvel Cards Up. You know, when he was collecting Vanisher,
the
like he was the Vanisher, like, and
That's a
that's what he
great
said. He said, "Dude," he goes, "the amount of the joy that these cards give me just when I laugh at him." He goes,
that's
"It's
great.
worth it to me." And I'm like, "Well,
True.
that's a different type of collecting, sir."
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah, no, I love
Yeah,
that. I think that's awesome. I totally think
yeah,
that's pretty much the same way with that eyeball. I just laugh at it, because
yeah.
it's just such a stupid card. But
As long as you're getting something out of it,
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
matters. Any kind of enjoyment is enjoyment.
this is very true. This is very,
Mhm.
very true.
So, what are you
Well,
looking forward to, man? Now, in the hobby in general, like, and you're slightly active on IG, but do you have people that you communicate with on the weekly? Do you kind of like collect on your own more than anything?
yeah,
Yeah,
I collect on my own. My cousin is used to definitely be into it with me. He hasn't really been into it in like the last year or whatnot. So I used to really talk about a lot of this stuff with him. He's really more like into now. He's just kind of like what he's got, he's grading. So then that way he can kind of just store and then see what the market's going to be like 5, 10 years from now. He's kind of like into that game. But other than him, just kind of shooting the shit about this stuff every now and then, no, I get most of my information from watching like you guys, Spidey Hits, Neo,
Mhm.
Manu, like that's pretty much like kind of like
Yeah.
where I'm picking up the information. I haven't every now and then I may, make a trade on EPAC and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I've traded with Cool Cards a couple of
Oh,
times.
Michael.
Mike's
Michael.
awesome, great
Shout
guy.
out to yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
shout out
He's
to
dope.
Mike. Mike is great. Good peoples. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Oh, and Norin. Norin's a great guy, dude.
Yeah.
Great guy also. Like I haven't really bought anything or traded with Norin or whatnot, but definitely I would say that like if there's been a few times where I've had like some serious questions, and
Mhm.
Norin's definitely been there to help me out and just kind of be like, give me the answer that I was searching for. So that was very cool. Other than
Yeah.
that, not so much. No.
Yeah, he always has a good perspective, especially being a character collector and how deep his
Oh
collection
yeah,
goes.
no
Yeah,
doubt.
for sure.
And he knows
Yeah.
everything. Like he
Yeah.
knows like all the sets. He knows like what was going on in 1992. He knows what was going on in 1987.
Yeah.
So his knowledge is. We're lucky to have like a dude that's like that knowledgeable and just gives away that knowledge
Yeah.
freely and willingly and stuff like a Matt,
Mm.
OCD Matt. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as
Yeah.
sketch cards,
Oh, yeah. Sketch
you know what I'm
cards.
saying? Like
Yeah.
who like Matt knows his stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's cool to have like people that are so knowledgeable on the subject, on any subject like that are just willingly giving you information. There's like my fucking financial advisor is not giving it away for free. You know what I'm saying? He's not just,
Yeah.
"Hey, I think Gus, this is what you should invest in," and stuff like that. My doctor's not giving away like free advice and stuff like that. My lawyer
Yeah.
certainly isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like that guy's
Yeah.
charging you $300 an hour. So the fact that those cats are just kind of like, and at least once a week or twice a month, they're gonna get out there. They're gonna talk about stuff like that's cool. We got it lucky like that. For the
Yeah.
Marvel card community.
Yeah, it's very similar to even like Manu with the wizard stuff, right? Like it's
Yeah.
people that are hyper focused on one area or a niche part of the hobby. That's what's awesome to me when you're able to accumulate that much knowledge in one specific like area.
Mhm.
That's dope. Yeah,
Yeah,
I enjoy that myself. Whenever
absolutely.
I have questions, I know who to reach out to for comic stuff. I know who to reach out to for X, Y,
Would
or Z.
would we have known would anybody any of us, like would a lot of the people, let's put it this way, I don't want to lump everybody in together, but a lot of people would have no idea what the fuck a Wizard magazine is if it wasn't for Manu. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a
Yeah,
result of Manu talking about the Wizard, I went out and I bought a Wizard magazine. I'd never seen it. I never saw it before. I never knew about it, but he talked about it, and then I saw it, and I was like, "Dude, is this Spider-Man as a wizard? Are you kidding me? This is amazing."
yeah,
So, like, that's and that's actually one of the things I really do dig is like when you get a chance to see like what other people collect and
mhm,
you had no idea that it existed and you're just like, oh my god, this is so cool, or it's like, oh dude, this is not for me, you know what I'm saying? But like
yeah,
you get a chance to see this stuff,
yeah,
and like you didn't get a chance to do that like, let's say 10, 15 years ago. Like it was a
mm,
very very secretive, not that I was in it, but from what I understand it was kind of a secretive hobby, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
people didn't share, like, the stuff that they
Well,
bought.
which is ironic, right? Because back in the day, that there was an abundance of cards because there was an amount of people that collecting it. So
True.
you would feel like people would be more free with their information. But
Yeah.
one of the shout outs I wanted to do was you were talking about again just people that are very knowledgeable when it comes to collecting. I don't know if you ever got into the show back in the day, but did you ever watch American Pickers? Rest in
Yeah.
peace to one of
Oh,
the
yeah,
oh,
absolutely, dude.
yeah.
Mike, not Mike, but, what was
I
the little
forget his
guy's
name.
name?
I don't
What
want
was
to.
the little guy? Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally read that. That sucks.
Yeah, it's
Always
and I
sucks.
used to watch that show, and it's funny you mentioned that because one of the things that always stood out to me is it is all about knowledge. Because I remember watching that show, and they would come into like someone's attic or someone's basement, and they would they're all over here planning out with each other in the corner, but hey, did you see that Coca Cola sign? Yeah,
Right.
that's like $600. We just got to restore it, this and this and that. Now, me and you could have gone into that basement, saw the Coca Cola sign, and said, "Fuck that Coca Cola sign," right?
Absolutely.
But it's all
Walked right
about
past it.
what you know
Yeah,
exactly, and that's what's awesome, man. Like the more knowledge you get about any kind of collectible market, the more opportunities come your way.
absolutely. No doubt about it. And that's an interesting thing here with the collectibles because, like, they're grading everything, aren't they? Like,
Yeah,
right down to, VHS. And like I actually, like you asked me like if there's anything else I collect. I dabble a little bit with the VHS. It's not so much more than like the movies that I really dug as like a kid, and
Yeah.
like to have them like in a sealed copy, like I think that's cool. And then slabbed in between two pieces of plastic is always really cool. But the fact that they're even doing that, like to me, is just like, dude, we're just going to be living in a collectible world of plastic. Is really
And,
what's
and you know, the crazy thing about that is, by the way, Starbucks can't give me a plastic straw.
right. Exactly.
Right? But
That's
we have so much fucking plastic.
no doubt, dude. Fucking
It's
try having coffee with in a fucking paper straw. It's disgust. It's terrible.
because the chances of a fucking turtle getting one up its nostril is
Yeah,
fucking one
exactly.
in one.
That's I go to Greece often, not often, but I go to Greece enough where like they have completely stopped giving you, and like in Greece they have like a thing called a frappe, which is like an iced coffee, and so you really need a plastic straw to drink it, and it's all paper, and it's just like it's fucked up the taste of the frappe basically. But like
Mm.
even in Europe, like they've eliminated like plastic straws, which I think is hilarious because everybody smokes like chimneys in Greece, and like they still use plastic bags. So, whatever. But it's definitely a scam. in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's just a
Yeah.
fucking scam.
Well, we could get into those
Yeah,
super quick. I was gonna say
right.
to
It's
wrap it up, man. I appreciate you joining me.
no
Did you
doubt.
want to share again? You already know my question, man. If
Yeah.
there's a fire, what are you walking out with?
So, I mean, I showed you 2 out of the 3 cards. I
Okay.
mean, they're both vintage. These guys over here. And
Okay.
then, I mean, this guy's gonna come with it because they're always just together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that kind of like goes whatever.
I'll let that
And
slide. I'll let
thank
that
you. Appreciate that.
slide.
Appreciate that. I wasn't sure if you were gonna let it slide, but I appreciate it. And then this guy over here.
Ooh, okay. Little
This is
platinum PSA 10.
Yeah, this is my platinum PSA
That's
10.
dope, man.
I
That
love
is
this card.
awesome.
Thank you, brother, man. I got this from the homie Alonzo. You know Alonzo
Shout
Collectibles?
out to Alonso, yeah.
Shout out to Alonzo. Gave me a really good deal on it. Alonzo's great peoples. And so a little story over here why I love this card. It's a little bit, not just the fact that it's like super cool, but Norin, Fausto reached out to me, and they had, how like OCD and Alonzo would kind of like, they would have like a sales event that would go
Yeah.
on like every now and then. And they
Mhm.
ended up having one, and I ended up missing it. And Norin reached out to me, and he's like, hey, he's like, you collect Null. He's Alonzo has a really nice platinum portrait if you're interested or whatnot. And I was like, dude, you know what? Why the heck not? Let's see what's up. Now I was having like a completely terrible week at that point in time. So the fact that kind of like boosted up my just it helped. You know what I'm saying? It
Your
got me. I was
morale.
like, dude, yeah, it boosted up the morale. I was like, I really wanted this card. Never thought I would own it. Just kind of fell, the opportunity kind of fell in my lap or whatnot. And I was like, dude, let's do it. So like I really like the story behind this card, other than the fact that I really wanted it. So that's why it's going to be one of the 3 that I take if there's a fire.
That's dope, man.
But yeah,
Yeah,
dog,
those yeah, people don't understand how special those first year platinum portraits are, man.
yeah,
They're so rare, so
yeah,
tough to pull, and then especially to get one in a 10.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
congrats, man.
I don't know. I think Alonzo pulled it and graded it, and he's the one who ended up getting it at a 10. But you're right. Like they're just, and then the geodes too from that set. Like
Mhm.
there's or was it no? It wasn't this set. They didn't have geodes in the
Yeah, they
Spider-Man.
had geodes. They had
Did they
geodes.
have geodes in the
Oh,
Spider-Man?
that's Spider-Man. No, I was thinking.
But,
By the
but
way, I thought that was the X-Men Metal set. Sorry,
no, no, no. This is the
Spider-Man Metal.
Spider-Man metal. Yeah.
Got you. Okay,
X-Men metal definitely had the portrait, had
geodes.
the geodes. Those are cool. And then the new Avengers have geodes also.
Hmm.
Look
And
pretty
those
nice.
purely periodics.
And the purely periodics, those are special cards too. The purely
Yeah,
periodics. Like there's, just we're never going to see those again. Like
yeah.
those are some cards that are probably going to go by the wayside. And then all the cool holograms that Upper Deck had, those are probably going to go by the wayside too. But I feel like it's an end of an era. And as much as like people may have bitched, and myself included, like there's a lot of times where I was like, dude, Upper Deck, you missed it on this.
Slipping.
You're slipping, right? But then there's a lot of times where it's like you guys really like on the for the Spider-Man, the Amazing Fantasy 15 comic cuts. Great idea.
Mm.
beautiful,
that was crazy.
beautifully
Yeah.
executed.
And speaking of Alonso, he's one of the guys who ended up with one of
He
those
is,
cuts.
yeah. Him and Spidey, and I guess Spidey sold his for 30,000. He had something like last year where he like put out like
Nice.
a little show on it or whatnot. So listen, to realize $30,000 on a comic cut, it's fantastic. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's don't know if
You,
that's I don't
you
think
got a
that's
nice one yourself, by the way. You got a nice little ASM 300 cut.
so listen, brother, man. I actually got this right here in front.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
I bought this from you. I fell
Yeah,
in
dude.
love with this comic, or excuse me, with this comic cut the very minute that I saw it. Like, I am a big fan of this cut. Like this is literally like right in the front of my case.
I'm glad you have it, man. I do miss it. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was Black Spidey with Venom in the same cut.
Absolutely.
You don't see too many of those.
No, you really don't. I mean, and what a lot of people don't know about comic cuts is that they're like, I wanted to show you this. So
Yeah,
like,
go ahead, man.
as far as the, so this one is from the Avengers
Yeah.
to Steve Englehart. Now, the reason that I got this, and I think it's so cool, is the pencilers, George Perez and Jack Kirby.
Oh.
Never seen Jack Kirby's name on a comic cut ever. I've seen a lot of comic cuts, and I've never seen a Kirby. So I was really, really, really happy to get this. But this, this is the type of history that I'm talking about that I think is just amazing on these comic cuts, and I think is an end of an era because I don't think we're going to get that type of history from Topps. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Very, very. I'm patiently waiting to see like what their second, or like even like let's say what they do here in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you guys going to release here? Like, let's see how cool it is. And then we'll decide whether or not we're going to kind of continue going down, this road, this little rabbit hole that, is Marvel collecting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing I will say, speaking of eras and just in general, like one of the things I really enjoy, and I hope, I think we touched on a little bit on the state of the hobby with Brian and True Blue and Nick, was promos, man. More promos, right?
Yeah, dude.
Like Kith is killing the game with those promos. I wasn't so much into the comics personally, but the cards that they came up with, he fucking knocked that out of the park.
Yeah, they're killer. Absolute killer. I mean, everything about those cards are very, very cool. And even now, they're realizing very good prices.
Yes.
So, and I think that's only going to continue. I think that, as it goes down, like that's a true rare item as far as it pertains to the Marvel card world, and nothing to do with Upper Deck or Topps, just something.
That's what I mean. Yeah. That's why. And I hope that continues. Go ahead.
What do you think about like these piggy banks type of guys? What do you think about those guys?
To be honest, I think it's okay. I think it's dope as a collector. If you just want to see it as a piece that, man, he came up with a cool concept, a cool idea. I want it in my collection, sure. I do it by all means. But as far as like from like a secondary market, I don't know how I feel about that because it's not licensed, right?
Exactly.
So it's not licensed. And also I feel like custom cards, I don't know how it's a different thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like I would even say, because there's people that are Hot Wheel customizers, so and those usually they're expensive to get a commission by, there's some nice customizers out there, but buying it in the secondary market, some of them do well, some of them just are given away just because, again, it's not authentic anymore. It's not 100% the way it came. So I don't know. I think it's a novelty thing more than anything from the way I see it, but I don't know. I don't know too much. I've seen those cards floating around on IG. Like a couple people have some Star Wars pieces, and it seems like whoever the creator is focusing a lot on like non-sports and pop culture cards, which is dope. Again, I love some of the designs he picks. Would I pay like a huge amount of money for them? No.
Yeah, I mean,
I personally wouldn't.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. I think you got to draw the line at the licensing. Like that's really kind of like what I think most collectors really want is a licensed product. It doesn't matter from where, as long as it's licensed.
Because otherwise, me and you could just start up Rittenhouse again and start making our own cards.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. What do you think? You think Rittenhouse should come back and start doing it if Topps messes up?
I hope, man. To your point, like if you don't foresee Fanatics and Topps like ever letting go of that license for a while, just because of the sheer amount of money they have behind them.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rittenhouse stands a chance.
Yeah. I think that was an end of an era too. And if it's
Yeah,
like we said, backstage, like if they're just so big that they
yeah,
could, they're just going to take it. So they're going to they've taken it and they're going to keep it. So like we may not see another different type of Marvel product for like the next 20 years. It's really what I'm thinking, which, like I said, end of an era.
yeah. We'll see, man. Hey, we'll be talking when
Yeah, no doubt.
you'll be collecting Social Security by then. You know what I mean? But hey, Constantine,
Right.
man, do
My
you want
man.
to any shout outs, man, before I let you go?
Shout outs. Yeah, dude. Listen, I'm gonna give shout outs to you guys, you and your crew over there. Keep on,
NSDC?
yeah,
Appreciate it, man.
NSDC, dude. Shout out to you for putting out a killer episode on the diecast on the Batman cars. I knew nothing
Oh,
about it, but I ended up listening to it. I thought it was fantastic. I was like, hey, dude, these are cool as shit.
thank
So
you,
shout
man.
out to you for that. Shout out to your crew. You guys are always pushing out like just, real good content, really informative. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Shout out to like the collectors along the way that have, traded with me, that have sold me some cool cards that have been cool and stuff like that. That's that, enjoy collecting. I know that's the MCCP, the Marvel card podcast like
Yeah,
thing, but I like it. I think it's very true. Like we should all enjoy
yeah.
collecting. We're in it for, everybody's got their own reasons or whatnot, but we should at least enjoy it while we're in here. I see a lot of people kind of like,
Mhm.
making it like a second job.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be
They,
a second
I
job.
think people forget. Yeah, that's a good point. Shout out to Ian Taylor. I do think it's like, yeah, man, people forget that, when you were a kid, you wouldn't be mad at this shit. What are
Yeah,
you
not
mad
at all.
about?
Yeah,
You'd
not
be
at
fucking
all.
stoked that you got the shit that
Absolutely.
you have. You know
Yeah,
what I
no
mean?
doubt. If my little guy self can like just see like the collection now, he wouldn't believe it. He'd be like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Stop spending your money, kid. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, stop
No,
spending
just
your money,
hey,
Mr.
but
Adult.
to your point, hey, we're not taking it with us. So enjoy while you're here, brother.
Absolutely. And that's really what it is. It's just about enjoyment. So, shout out to you guys. Shout out to the collectors out there that are just, grinding every day, like with
Mhm.
the little hearts on eBay and stuff like that. Shout out to you guys. And let's, hopefully shout out to everybody in this hobby that is going to help this hobby grow in the next 5 to 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see where we're at here in a decade. And if it's anywhere near like the TCG market, I think we're going to be in a good place.
Absolutely, man. Hey, and
Right
again,
on.
I told you I've been planning on doing those state of the hobbies more
Yeah.
frequently, at least once a month. So
Let
we'll
me know.
definitely have you on, man.
I'm
Thank
down.
you,
I'm
bro.
totally down. Thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure. It was definitely a lot of fun. Anytime, my man. Have a fantastic night.
Thank you. You too.
Right on,
Peace.
dog.